come to order. Can we please stand up for Pledge of Allegiance? And Ms. Perez, would you lead us in Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. Our Vice Mayor is not here today, but what he likes to do is he likes to have a moment of silence for all the folks that are serving, have not able to make it home. So let's have a moment of silence. Oh, and okay, I'll make that announcement. So. Thank you. Please be seated. May I have roll call, please?
Roll call. Councilmember Baptista. Present. Councilmember King.
Present.
Mayor Samra.
Present.
For the record, Council Members Aguilar and Mayor Pro Tem Garcia are not in attendance, but their absence is excused.
Thank you. Change to the agenda. Council, Mr. Ramirez, anybody?
The only item, Mr. Mayor, is the public hearing on the Foster Farms. We'll deal with it at that moment then. Yeah. So actually, we will deal with it when it comes up.
Do I even need to introduce or just leave it? Okay, I thought so. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I also wanted, before we actually start our formal meeting, I just wanted to take a quick moment to give my condolences and my thoughts and prayers to Chief Carter here at Baraka for the loss of your mother, and we're with you, and I can just imagine what you're going through. So thank you for being here, and again, our condolences and prayers are for you and your family.
Yes, Chief. Losing anybody is difficult, but especially moms. So our thoughts and prayers with you. Okay, we'll go on to awards, presentations, and proclamations. And this time we have a PowerPoint from PG&E. I believe we have a PG&E representative. Please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Thanks, sir. Thank you, Mayor Samra. Good evening, council members. Members of the public and first responders, my name is Michael Gaffney with PG&E. I'm a local public affairs representative for your area. That includes Merced County, Stanislaus County, Tuolumne County, and Mariposa counties. I'm here to talk to you tonight about PG&E's Community Wildfire Safety Program. Which consists of three main pillars. The first pillar is real-time monitoring and intelligence, which includes monitoring wildfire risk in real time from our Wildfire Safety Operations Center, expanding our network of PG&E weather stations to enhance weather forecasting and modeling, and supporting the installation of new high-definition cameras in high fire threat areas. The second pillar is new and enhanced safety measures, which includes enhancing vegetation management efforts to increase focus on vegetation that poses a higher potential for wildfire risk, conducting accelerated safety inspections of electric infrastructure in high fire threat areas, disabling automatic reclosing of circuit breakers and reclosers in high fire risk areas, and proactively turning off electric power for safety as a last resort when extreme fire danger conditions are forecasted. The third pillar is system hardening and resiliency, which includes installing stronger and more resilient poles and covered power lines, along with targeted undergrounding, upgrading and replacing electric equipment and infrastructure, and working with communities to develop new resilient zones. real-time monitoring and intelligence. Last year, PG&E built a state-of-the-art wildfire safety operations center located at our corporate headquarters in San Francisco. This center is where we monitor wildfire risks in real time. It is fully staffed with experts from electric operations, fire, safety, meteorology, and others who partner and coordinate with local governments, first responders, media, and other safety officials. The intelligence piece of this pillar includes installing approximately 1,300 new weather stations and 1,600 new high-definition cameras across our service territory by 2022. Last year, we installed 200 new weather stations and 9 new high-definition cameras. This year, we plan to install 400 new weather stations and 70 new high-definition cameras. And I encourage you all to visit the 2 websites highlighted on this deck. There's some great data available as well as images that are available to the public. Enhanced vegetation management. We are increasing our focus on addressing the vegetation that poses a higher potential for wildfire risk by meeting and exceeding state standards for minimum clearances around our power lines as shown, and this is mandated by the California Public Utilities Commission. Addressing overhanging limbs and branches directly above and around our lines, and targeted removal of dead and dying trees, as well as certain species that pose an increased potential risk of falling into our power lines. Wildfire safety inspections. As part of our enhanced wildfire safety efforts, we are conducting accelerated safety inspections of electric infrastructure in areas of higher wildfire risk, which are known as Tier 2 and Tier 3 areas. This work is being done as part of our Community Wildfire Safety Program and is in addition to our routine inspections and maintenance programs. We are inspecting substations, transmission lines, distribution lines, and high fire threat areas. To put this into perspective, this year we will be inspecting approximately 50,000 structures across more than 5,500 miles of transmission lines and approximately 685,000 structures across more than 25,200 miles of distribution lines. Inspections overview. Accelerated inspections of transmission and distribution poles and towers, as well as substations and high fire threat areas, will be completed via visual inspections, aerial inspections by drones, and in some cases by helicopters. Electric system maintenance and repairs. When inspections determine that repairs are needed, but there is not an immediate safety risk, we will follow our preventative maintenance procedures consistent with state guidelines for high fire threat areas. Repairs will depend on what we observe in the field, but could range from installing new signs or electric components to replacing poles or towers. And where possible, we will bundle this work to minimize customer impact, particularly if we need to de-energize a line to safely complete the repairs. System hardening and resiliency. PG&E is actively installing stronger and more resilient poles and covered power lines across approximately 7,100 miles of our highest fire threat areas. Replacing equipment to further reduce risk to our system, and piloting new resilience zones to allow PG&E to provide electricity to central community resources serving local customers during a public safety power shutoff event. Additional safety measures. To further reduce the risk of wildfires, we are disabling automatic reclosing of circuit breakers and reclosers on lines in high fire risk areas during wildfire season. PG&E has enabled 450 reclosing devices with remote capabilities in 2018, and we're working to enable nearly 300 additional reclosing devices with remote capabilities in advance of the 2019 wildfire season. Public Safety Power Shutoff, also known as PSPS. We monitor conditions across our system and evaluate whether to proactively turn off electric lines as a last resort in the interest of safety. While no single factor will drive a public safety power shutoff or PSPS event, some factors include a red flag warning, low humidity levels, generally 20% and below, forecasted sustained winds generally above 25 miles an hour with wind gusts in excess of approximately 45 miles an hour, conditions of dry fuel, and on-the-ground real-time observations from PG&E's Wildfire Safety Operations Center. Last year was our first and only to date PSPS event, which affected counties north of Calaveras County, and approximately 59,000 customers lost power for approximately 3 days. The event was on October 14th and lasted until October 16th of 2018. Beginning with the 2019 wildfire season, we are expanding our public safety power shutoff program to include all electric lines that pass through high fire threat areas. Fire threat areas indicated on this map are Tier 2, or elevated risk for wildfire areas, and Tier 3, or extreme risk for wildfire areas. It's important to note that there are no Tier 2 or Tier 3 areas in Merced County. While customers in high fire threat areas are more likely to be affected, any of PG&E's more than 5 million electric customers could have their power shut off due to the interconnected nature of the electric grid. We will provide customers with advance notice prior to turning off power. Timing of notifications when possible is approximately 48 hours before electricity is turned off. Again, approximately 24 hours before electricity is turned off. Just before the electricity is turned off, during the public safety outage, and once power has been restored. Customers will be notified via calls, texts, and emails, and also through Nixle, Nextdoor, and Reverse 911. Working to restore power. We will only restore power when we are certain it is safe to do so. After the extreme weather has passed, we will patrol and inspect, isolate and repair damage, restore power, and notify customers that power has been restored. Working with our customers to prepare. We're continuing to reach out to our customers and communities about wildfire safety and steps they can take to prepare. We are constantly reaching out to customers and asking them to update their safety information on our website. A lot of times folks have old landline numbers, and that doesn't do us any good. We need your latest and greatest phone number, whether it be a cell phone or a family member's telephone number on our website. Engaging with the organizations for our customers who have specific needs to explore ways we can partner. Partnering with community leaders, first responders, and public safety authorities. Holding answer centers and open houses. Doing additional outreach to medical baseline and medical baseline eligible customers in high fire threat areas, and continuing to share information through our website. This is important information. It has my personal cell phone number, my email address, and a direct line where customers can go with questions related to wildfire safety and specifically our PSPS program. I encourage you to share this information on the city website and make it available to members of the public. I can email this to anybody who would like to get a business card from me and answer any questions if you have any questions or feedback.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for PG&E at this time? If not, I got one.
Okay.
Under PSPS event notifications, is that just to say that it might be a possibility of power going off, or when you issue it 48 hours, that's definitely going to go down at that point?
It doesn't necessarily mean that we're actually going to de-energize the lines. It's just putting customers on notice.
It just puts it's not okay. Yeah, because okay. Well, just wanted to make sure that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else have any questions? If not, thank you, sir.
The opportunity. Thank you.
Okay, going on to item 2. As we know, or folks that Betty Cota retired after how many years?
45 years.
45 years. So, and of course, cities move on and we have to, and we are now fortunate to have a replacement, going to have a big shoes to fill, and we'll have to teach you how to get after the council members and city managers because she was the real boss, so we'll have to teach you that part. So what I do get to do, as always, is the best part of being the mayor is you get to swear in officers, new employees at different levels, so we'll do that at this time.
So I'll take a quick moment just to give a little bit of background information, a little bio on Monica. So we're very proud to have Monica Cisneros as our newly appointed executive assistant to the city manager and deputy clerk position. Monica is actually a Merced native. Her whole family also reside in the county. She comes from the really big city of Dos Palos. And so prior to her joining us here, she actually worked for Cyril Lawrence, Inc., which is a tax law firm out of Merced. She's a Merced. She went to Merced College and also CSU Stanislaus. She's been a certified paralegal since 2006. I know that she's very excited about this new opportunity and the new challenges that this community in Livingston will definitely challenge her. And we welcome her to the Livingston family, and we look forward to working with her and making this community a lot better. So thank you very much, Monica. Let's give her a big round of applause. So she gets a double swearing in.
So I want to say officially, welcome aboard. We look forward to many years of working with you, and it's going to be different. I will no longer be afraid going to that office. Believe me, if anybody knows Betty, you're afraid. So you may deny it, but it's true. So what we're going to do, Monica, at this time is I would like for you to raise your right hand, and when I say "I," you state your name. And then I'm going to read a certain portion of the oath and just repeat after me, okay? I state your name.
Monica Cisneros.
Do solemnly swear and affirm
Do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
Let's do this again. I will support and defend the Constitution
and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
against all enemy, foreign and domestic.
That I will bear truth, faith, and allegiance
That I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California.
Constitution of the State of California.
That I will take this obligation freely,
That I will take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion.
and that I will well
That I will
and faithfully discharge the duties
and faithfully discharge the duties
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I will be entering.
About to enter.
Enter.
Congratulations. No, you can't be. You cannot be shy. 'Cause
Well, thank you for the opportunity. It's an exciting moment, and it's going to be a lot of challenges, but I'm ready for it.
But I also believe that we will see her at every meeting. Correct?
That's right.
So she will be taking the minutes and calling out the votes, and so we'll see a lot of her. So she'll lose her shyness real quick here. Thank you. Okay, we'll go to announcements and reports. As you know, Livingston's always trying to improve on what we're trying to do. So today, our supervisor Espinoza is not here, so we have a improvement on that, we do have a representative from Adam Gray's office going to give a report. Would you like to go ahead and give the report from Mr. Gray's, Adam Gray's office, please? And it's Bernice from Adam Gray's office.
Good evening, everyone. Just a couple of updates on behalf of Assembly Member Adam Gray. We'd like to share that we will be hosting mobile office hours in Atwater, upcoming April 26th from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. and located in City Hall. We have also partnered up with United Way to provide tax assistance workshops in Merced on April 6th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Bernice at this time? If not, thank you.
Thank you.
And just to show, Supervisor Pascal could not make it. He'll be leaving on a business trip tomorrow, so he has to get up real early, so he was not going to make it. And then we'll move on to staff announcements and reports. And I see Public Works stepping up already. So, Anthony?
Mayor, council members, members of the public. I do not have a formal presentation this evening, but I would like to update council on well 13. Well 13 is back in operation as of today. The repair is going to be, it's going to work fine. There is no evidence of sand as of now. Well 11, we did video that well. The casing and the screening look in good condition. The bottom part of the screening was foul. It is being cleaned right now by the contractor. Upon cleaning it though, there's still sand in the well. So the contractor is working on readjusting or resetting the gravel pack around the well. We're hoping that takes care of the issue. But once I find out more, I'll let you council. Storage big project. Sandblasting phase is over, so it is getting quieter in that area. We have some concerns in that area with sandblasting. So the inside, the interior is being painted, primer currently. After they finish painting the inside, then they will work on the exterior, but no sandblasting on the exterior. That's all I got this evening.
Does audience or anybody have any questions for Public Works? Thank you, kind sir. I see code enforcement walking up, and they have a presentation that we had an early preview on.
Nice to see everyone again. Sorry, I'm actually happy because normally Anthony has great presentation and I always have to follow behind, but happy. So again, thank you everybody for your service, for being here and making a difference in the community. And I'd also like to thank our city manager, because without him, I wouldn't be here and being able to make a difference in the community. So thank you, sir. So tonight I just want to take a little different approach. Just kind of wanted to back up a little bit and be a little bit more general and kind of talk about who is code enforcement. I am code enforcement, but it's a little bit more than that. So everybody kind of knows we came in July of 17. I'm only here 16 hours a week, so I have a lot of work to get done in a very short time. Next. So what is code enforcement? Basically, we address everything kind of falls in the kitchen sink. So it could be serious issues, life safety, could be something as simple as business license. It's kind of across the board, but basically anything that has a code or an ordinance and there's a violation, that involves us. And why? Because, again, safety issues, we combat blight, it enhances the community, and overall, it just makes a difference. So our end approach and the goal of code enforcement is basically to work with the community, get things in line, team up with other city team members, and just overall improve the quality of life here in the community. So I'm going to just kind of touch on a few issues this evening. Next presentation, I'll try and touch on some more and just kind of expand. One of the issues that's kind of been an ongoing issue, and unfortunately, as much work as I'm putting into it, it's not really dissipating, is we have what is currently called illegal camping. So we can go to the next slide. These are a couple sort of pictures of exactly what pop up. We get these, we tackle them, we get them taken down. If you notice, you have some simple items that you would notice would be discarded. Plastic, a set of blinds, basically anything that you would toss out or think is nothing gets repurposed. Next. Again, here's another one of our little shanties out there. You can go to the next one. This one is actually behind the field behind Liberty Market, repurposing of the pallets. Again, carpet, things that people discard, don't realize are an issue. Next. But we also have issues where they're coming indoors. This is a vacant structure, and these are two different incidences where the structure was breached for people to take up residence inside. This is kind of your typical epicenter of what's going on. This is behind Liberty Plaza. We have a dumpster. Not such a big deal, but I'm trying to work with the stores there to store their materials inside, not leave the resources outside. So grab your milk carton, stand up on top, go through the dumpster, pull out what you want, toss everything on the ground, take your supplies, drop them in the shopping cart, and off you go. So this has become an issue and one of the hot spots, and I'm trying to get this resolved, working both with the property owner and the tenants. And since there's a fence that runs the span of the property, it's just a real pain to like go all the way around the fence. So we keep having issues where the property owner repairs the fence and they keep cutting it. This is the third time it's been cut. And then this is what we encounter. Again, you have all the materials sitting outside. They're being utilized. We have one of the vehicles out there, and if you notice off to the left, you also have somebody taking a nice little snooze. All right, this one is in conjunction with Public Works. Improper alley management. This is becoming more and more of an issue, and I'm trying to work directly with them. Basically, the alleys are the responsibility of the property owners and manage them, and here's a couple examples of what we get to deal with. People just discard stuff out there and just think it's going to magically disappear. And here's another example. I'll just put it out there. I don't have to see it, but it impedes traffic for not only the vehicles utilizing the alley, whether it's utility vehicles, but also safety vehicles. So, accessory structures. Go ahead. Here's a perfect example. On the right, you have a house with a garage next to it, then a shed, and another shed. And the last shed is actually over height. Then you have another example, oversized shed. This is kind of your perfect picture here. You have, if you notice the lighting, you'll see that they've set it up with electric. There's also a hose hanging there. Both electric and plumbing would require a building permit, as well as any structure over 120 square feet. So this is just check, check, check. So again, perfect poster child here. Unpermitted construction, oversized, it's in the setback, and these are the issues that we're trying to address. Property maintenance. This is probably my number one complaint, even though it's a very large category, so I'm just going to touch on a few of the issues tonight. So, improper storage, just tossing stuff out there. Again, just toss stuff out, waiting for somebody to magically pick it up. This is a favorite in the community, lawn parking. Trying to work on this, getting people to utilize, improved surfaces. So in the picture on the left, if you notice, you have a pickup truck. Well, that pickup truck is actually inoperable. It doesn't move. So instead of dealing with that, we're just going to park on the lawn. So again, A lot of these things are not isolated. They're in conjunction with other issues. This is one of the many backyards that we find out there. People doing laundry outside, porches, apartment complexes, improper and deferred property maintenance, not having enough service. And then here's some of the more important ones. These are life safety issues, stuff that impacts egress, attractive nuisances, health concerns, structural issues. So we have structural issues here. Egress, how are you guys how's anybody gonna get out safely out that window in case of an emergency? Or any of those windows. Attractive nuisance, a dangerous structure. Again, another backyard. Actually, somebody was living in there. Fire issues. Sewage. The one, if you can go back, the one on the right, we had a septic failure, and instead of doing a repair, the property owner came in, brought a pump, instructed the tenants, anytime it starts to back up, just turn the pump on. If you notice the hose coming through, and it pumped into the field next door. So this went on reportedly for a year before we were called in. And one of my little friends. All right, so what are some of the influences and drivers? Obviously, we have economics, we have weather, we have all different kinds of things. One of the ones that's oftentimes more challenging for me has to do sometimes with mental status, whether it's some of our campers or sometimes just regular property owners. So some of the solutions. Obviously, my number one choice is always going with community outreach, trying to work directly with people. If not, we have to start an enforcement process, which then can end up into citations, legal actions, and receiverships, which is a direction we are going with a couple of our long-term issues. So again, education is key, working with the community, and these are some of the methods that we're using. Again, I always try to start with the most favorable and easiest by, again, working directly with people and trying to get them to comply on their own. So here's an example of the ones that we're taking more legal action with. This is on 4th Street. It's been vacant. We've had issues with drug use, runaways, criminal activity, you name it, it's been going on. Vandalism, as you can see from all the graffiti, it's just a chronic issue. And this one is a private residence, but there's a 20-year history with hoarding. And as you can tell from the next slide, again, we have egress issues. This is a family that lives in this house. If you notice the door on the left, in case of emergency, how are you going to get out? And more importantly, how is fire going to get to you to help you, or PD? So just a couple key points, just to kind of talk about what I do here, aside from showing you guys some really pleasant pictures. I'm very busy. I manage about 50 cases every week. That's my active caseload. As soon as I close some, more keep coming in. We did have to initiate a citation program. We just weren't getting some people who are willing to comply, which has helped the program a little bit. Right now, I'm at $2,900. I didn't start issuing citations until July. So from July to December, we brought in $1,500, and I'm at $1,400 in 3 months so far just this year. And that's not what I've issued. That's what's been paid. Any other questions?
Public, any questions for code enforcement? Council?
So, thank you very much, Lee. You've done a great job. We work really closely with her and the rest of our team members here, Public Works, Police Department, et cetera. And for the council and the public to know is that we take every case on a case-by-case basis, because certain things don't really appear all of what that it seems. And so that's why we take a one-on-one approach with the residents. I won't mention any names, but there's always one or more reasons why X, Y, Z is happening, and so that's the approach that we take. We want to work with our residents, and we want to make sure that we're fair with not just the residents that have the issue, but also with the neighbors. And so far, we've been able to address all the different issues. There's actually an item on tonight's agenda that's requesting an additional allocation of funds to address one of the more severe properties that we have here in town. And so you'll see that a little later in the agenda. But again, thank you very much for the work that you do, and look forward to continuing to work with your office.
I couldn't do what I do without the rest of the team. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Fire department, we have 3 people to pick from, so we'll let you, Ryan?
Good evening, City Manager, City Council, Mayor. Tonight's report for the Livingston Fire Department. So in the city of Livingston, we ran 69 medical aids. We had 5 vehicle accidents, 1 vehicle fire, 1 structure fire, 1 alarm sounding, 6 public assist. In the county, we had 20 medical aids, 3 veg fires, 24 vehicle accidents, 4 vehicle fires, 5 structure fires, 2 alarm soundings, 5 public assists. Our year-to-date for 2019, we've had 407 calls. In the city was 257 and 151 in the county. Our PCS responded to 69% of the calls, and they covered the station 8%. Incidents within our first in for the city and the county, we've had 355 calls. For training, the paid staff, we did hose evolution, some hose training and reloading, and our volunteers went through a 2-hour presentation of PG&E. Is that the right? Is that the right one? I think that's last year. Yeah, I had it open on the bottom. Sorry. The very right. It should be open at the very bottom. No, it's already open.
Same one. There we go.
Sorry about that. I opened the wrong one on the desktop. So we just received Thursday our new engine, the Type 6 engine. It's going to be engine 696. It starts with a 6 for being a Type 6. It's a standard for the ICS. And we're hoping to have it in service pretty soon. We're working with Public Works to get the registration on it, and we're still ordering a couple items for it. So if you guys are interested, you can stop by the station and look at it anytime. For reading week, my partner, he read at Yamamoto School, which it seems like he missed out on an O on the school, so sorry about that. We also took parade in the Livingston Sikh Festival. And some upcoming events, our volunteers are having their annual volunteer company breakfast. It's going to be May 4th. It's from 7 to 11. And it'll be at the Livingston Fire Station in our app bay. You guys are more than welcome to come and attend. It's pretty good food.
It is good food.
And also we have our Fill the Boot. We will be at Winton Parkway and Joseph Gallo on May 25th. And we are completing our re-inspections for any of the schools that did not pass the original inspections, but there was no major violations during the first inspection. And just a friendly reminder that we will be beginning our weed abatement inspection program pretty soon. We mostly do them for the county areas, the city, the public work handles inside the city. And so if you have any questions, please feel free to come by the station. We'll answer those. And that will be it for our report. Do you guys have any questions?
Does the public have any questions for the fire department? Council?
And I apologize, I opened the wrong one for
Oh, it's
Chief
okay.
there.
It's-
I can do it again.
Thank you. Oh, are you done? Okay. So, engineering? Mario? Mr. Grant? Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Okay. Chief? There we go. Loose cables. We got to do that. Wow. Yeah. Well. Could be. Projector on you. Or laptop on the,
Thank you, Mayor and members of council, members of the public. And just to kind of follow up with code enforcement, we work hand in hand with her, and she does a great job. There's a lot of things to tackle in our town, and obviously when we look at public safety issues, and we're dealing with certain ones right now that have been ongoing issues. But I want to give her a shout out for the job she does here. Last month, our explorers attended the kickoff meeting for all the volunteers at Laguna Seca. It's actually run now by the Weather Tech. It used to be Mazda, now it's Weather Tech. And Officer Valdivia attended with some of our explorers to meet the actual CEO, Mr. McCrane, and then the SCRAMP director, Dennis Farber, who we work hand in hand with. So it's a good opportunity, again, as always, for our explorers to be actively involved, engaged in providing a service to Laguna Seca, and in return, they actually support our post through donations. Captain Sori and I attended the California Police Chiefs Association a couple weeks ago. Great opportunity to network, not only with the Attorney General, Javier Becerra, but network with other chiefs throughout the state that deal with the same public safety issues we deal with, and learned a lot of different things. There were several things that we learned that actually we were able to rectify some practices that expose us to liability. I won't say what they were, but we were able to learn some things, tricks of the trade that we were able to rectify. But again, a great opportunity to learn different things going throughout the state. United States Federal Prison Atwater hosts their Atwater Community Relations, which I co-chair with that, and we actually were graced with the Congressman Costa and supervisor at the meeting. So good opportunity to network with the prison folks, and again, they're the ones that provide a resource for us when we need some labor within our community programs. And again, we want to ensure that we keep the relationship strong with the prison. We hosted some post-training last week for all agencies within our county. It was a 4-hour block in communications. We had an instructor who's really good at what he does, John Costa, come out and talked about dealing with those that might be suffering with mental health issues, and how to talk to them, and how to basically de-escalate any situation through the use of verbal communications. And it's part of our perishable skills training. Every officer, every dispatcher has to go through 24 hours of perishable skills training every 2 years. And we're actually ahead of the curve. We got our officers attending driving training, force options, and now communications. And so we want to ensure that our staff is well-trained, and that's what we're ensuring here at in this training. You might have seen some of the news articles. A big shout out to Deanna Soria, who's been working on this project with Maribel over the last year to integrate the text to 911 system in our dispatch center. The picture on the left is an article that she did for the Sun Star, and to the right was Action News 30 came out to do a story on that. And in essence, basically, there are some departments throughout the state that have a 911 text to 911 system. However, there's only about 10 that have it integrated into their console, into the actual records management dispatch system. And so we were the first in the Central Valley to integrate that. And it's they actually, I watched a demo of it, and from my phone, I texted and went right straight to dispatch, and it popped up on the screen, and she's able to type back. And those are times where somebody who can't speak, whether it's through a medical condition or whether they have to keep their voices down for some sort of crime in progress, things like that, very, very beneficial to our community in maintaining safety within our community. Last week I attended the League of Cities Community Services Policy Committee meeting down in Southern California, Costa Mesa, and I serve on the committee, was assigned by the California Police Chiefs Association, and there's a lot of pending bills. One of the major issues that cities throughout California are dealing with are homelessness, and that was the number one topic. And when you talk about dealing with housing, land issues, there's over 200 pending bills that deal with housing and land issues, and there's a lot of things that are a lot of pending bills that some are good and some are things that are going to impact our communities, and so those are things that we provide input on. But again, it was a really good opportunity to attend that and hear what's going on. One of the things that the governor has a goal of, currently there's about 115,000 homes built annually in California. He's got a goal of building 3.5 million homes within the next 5 years. So that's about 500 homes. And so I think one of the things that may assist us in increasing our sphere of influence and developing a tax sharing agreement is we need to build homes in Livingston. And so if we get some support from that perspective, I think it's good. As you all know, last Sunday was a great parade, the Pajai parade, and a lot of folks attended this, and we had, I think, 8 officers and about 30 explorers assisting with traffic control and things like that. So I had an opportunity to take a few photos. The mayor and the council and CHP Captain Hagan and Officer Zanuga from the CHP as well. And we were graced with the good sheriff, Vern Warnke, very good friend of the city of Livingston and the department and of the mayor. So he was there, and then Corporal and Officer Becerra.
Hey, Chief, on that the vehicle, where's the rest of it? I want to see half of it.
This one here? Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I just want to see half of it.
That's the pocket.
Is that something you just leave behind sometimes when you're going to need it?
That's the pocket car. Yeah. So, yeah. And again, Corporal Kang did a great job out there. Just,
You did.
I mean, super job. Connected with the community, especially if you look at this last picture here. So again, a great event. Great event. We look forward to it every year, especially all the great food that's served. So. Just a reminder, we have our Officer and Dispatcher of the Year ceremonies coming up here April 18th at the Elks Lodge for lunch, and April 24th for the Officer of the Year. And so invite anybody that might, elected officials, by all means, if you like to attend. I think it'd be a good opportunity to see some of the good work that's being done in our county, not only by the officers but also by our dispatchers. And lastly, at the end of the month, we're going to have our National Drug Take Back Day. Those narcotics that are expired or unwanted, please bring them to the department. And if you can't make it then, we do have a depository in our lobby where you can safely discard them. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Chief? Public? Council? Thank you, Chief.
Okay, thanks.
Mr. Sanchez, anything to report? Any other staff member before I go to city manager? Anything to report? Mr. Ramirez?
Yes, Mr. Mayor and council and esteemed public, there's a few items that I would like to talk to you all about today. The first is I left a copy in the back there about a commuter study that was commissioned, and that's, I just wanted to remind everybody, it's been a little while since I've chatted about the Altamont Corridor Express Train, or short for ACE. As you know, there's a proposal out there to actually extend passenger rail service on this Union Pacific line all the way to Merced. And right now, the current service is between Lathrop and Stockton and all the way up to San Jose. So they operate early in the morning from about 4:30 in the morning all the way up to like around 9 o'clock at night. Well, anyways, to make a long story short, they're proposing bringing that service all the way to Merced. Right now, they have planned stoppages in Ceres, Modesto, and Turlock. They're either going to stop in Atwater or Livingston and in Merced. So, of course, we're trying to do everything that we can to showcase that this is where that stoppage, that next platform should be. So, anyways, we did the study, and council pledged some funding to have a platform, to have parking, et cetera, and we're trying to do some transient-oriented development in the downtown, hopefully, to help towards all of that. In addition to that, just wanted to continue to remind everybody that, you know, we have the Prop 68 workshops. That's for the state grant for recreational activities. We've had some workshops already, but we want to encourage more and more folks to come out. It's a family affair. There's actually childcare, so you don't have to worry about that. They have lots of fun. In addition to that, just wanted to talk about the tax sharing agreement. Our mayor and our council and myself, and along with the chief, we're trying to move the needle on that, trying to continue to engage our county so that we can have a tax sharing agreement. Why is it important? Well, there's a lot of reasons why it's important. But one of the major reasons is especially because we have a lot of our surrounding landowners and that are interested in developing some property, putting in, like for instance, there's off of Peach and Robin, they're wanting to put a mini storage place out there, but you know, they would like that property to be annexed into the city and not necessarily have to address county and stuff like that. Others have other projects in mind, and so that's all very, very important. So I just wanted to let everybody know that we're continuing to push on that subject matter. Next item that I want to talk about is, you know, there's been a few questions from some business owners about the gross receipt ordinance that's currently put in place. And so if anybody's interested in wanting to know a little bit about the gross receipts, as you know, we do have a city ordinance book, and in there it has, we have actually a formula, and it outlines all of the different aspects of how it's charged and when was it adopted and things of that nature. And so if anybody has any additional questions on this, business owners, residents, they can certainly come into City Hall, and we'll be more than happy to sit down and go over all of that, because sometimes it's a little difficult to understand and know, and so we're more than happy to take the time to talk to you about that. That is basically it, unless council has any questions for me. Thank you very much.
Public, any question for the city manager? Council? If not, we'll go to council member announcements and reports. Councilwoman Batista? Councilmember Kang?
Yeah, I attended the Sikh temple, the parade this year, and I just want to say thank you to Chief and his team and Public Works. Especially a big thank you to Chewy, I don't know his real name. He really had a dirty job.
His shoes, yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Pooper's good, no. That's not what we want to say, but. All right, thank you, Mr. Kang. For me, first of all, I wanted to give a LAFCO report on our as some of you may or may not know, or all of you, I'm the city representative for LAFCO. At our last LAFCO meeting, it was for discussion, not necessarily agendized item. There was a request made by Livingston Farmers Association to the Water Board to have a request for city to provide water services. And the Water Board directed him to LAFCO. LAFCO is saying that they should go to the Water Board or to the State Water Board, so it's like they're playing that round robin thing, and I'm not sure. And what LAFCO did do is, as through a general discussion, is through not a unanimous consent or but consensus, but by majority consensus was that they felt that at this time that Livingston Farmers did not meet, even though it's being relocated from the city into the county, did not meet health and safety standards for allow the city to provide service outside of its service area. Now, I think what the LAFCO is trying to do is they don't want to get into this little hissy fit with whose responsibility is to provide, that they're saying that the Water Board needs to give a clear direction to LAFCOs to provide this. So it's going to be kind of it may take a little bit longer, but I think LAFCO was more concerned with, Merced LAFCO I should say, is not to have somebody challenge our decision at this time. So that's where we're at on that one. I will keep you guys, everybody up to date when we have further discussion. So, and then moving on to, and again to piggyback off to what Councilman Kang said regarding the Narquita and the Hola this weekend, all we can say to everybody involved, thank you, thank you, thank you. Never ever did we have so much support. We always had great support, but I don't think you can match. Police department, great people, explorers, every corner. It's hot out there, and these folks are wearing their vests, and it's hot, and it's warm enough as it is, even though it's only 75 degrees, but it gets pretty darn hot under those vests, But they had good spirits. They were out there. Although I did see one safety violation, we'll be addressing that with Chief climbing on top of the wall, taking pictures. No, I don't know if it is or not, but Chief, I'm just saying. But anyway, they got some good pictures. I have to give that. But you know what? There was just great support from the police department. Thank you to each and every one of them, especially the explorers. They're always a great bunch of folks out there. To Public Works, everything was done. The roads are closed. They just worked their tails off getting the roads crack sealed, and I mean, they could. I don't think we couldn't even thinking about things that we need to have done, that they were already looking out and getting it done. It's just tremendous amount of support. Kudos to you and your group, and I will just add to it also to Mr. Chavez. We will probably have to add that to his job description someday down the road, or he could put it down in the future if he does that. That'll be one of his, on his resume. What did you do at city? So here it is. So. And also want to thank the fire department. They got to show off the Type 6. Even though it wasn't service, it kind of got that, I think, in a way, it got its blessing from our church. It got almost an hour and a half's worth of prayer behind it, so I don't think you can ask for better than that. And I did have a chance to play with the sirens and the lights with it on Friday, so it was cool to play with. I wish I was able to drive and take it around for a spin, but I don't think, No, it's got lights. I'm not authorized to drive, even though my current license would work, so Corporal wouldn't be able to get after me on that one, No, it only requires a Class C, so we're good there, and I know Sheriff's Office is not here, but also the Sheriff's Posse came out, and they sent a whole bunch of Sheriff's Posse came in with like 10 horses. Oh, and I also forgot about our mounted unit. You know, we had our horses there too. You know, sheriff was there, and you know, it was just great. Just the level of support we got from staff, police, and everybody. It just, I don't think we could have asked for anything better. So we will always be grateful for the 21 years and at least 21 more years to go. So we really appreciate that. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Just wanted to take a quick moment, Mayor, I just noticed that Monica's husband is actually in the audience, and so my apologies, I didn't see him. He was hiding behind the beautiful ladies there in the front, so if you can please stand and give him a round of applause, Mr.
please
Abelino. Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. So again, Abelino Mendoza, welcome.
I'm sorry, Monica, would you like to introduce? Yes. No, you got to get used to it. You got to learn to say roll call, you know. So you must well introduce. Go ahead. Let's hear you. Go ahead. Introduce.
Well, I'd like to introduce my husband, Abelino Cisneros.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the public hearing. As you know, this is being pulled for at this time, but we still have to introduce it. This is a resolution approving the Economic Development Initiative between the City of Livingston and Foster Poultry Farms. Mr. Ramirez?
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council and public, the reason we're asking for this public hearing to be continued to the next regularly scheduled city council meeting is because this is a very important item, and as you can see, we're missing a couple of council members, so it's very important that we have their input and have them be present. So for that reason, I'm requesting that this public hearing be continued to the next following regularly scheduled council meeting. And what would that date be? Just, it would be
16th.
April 16th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. And as we said, this is going to be tabled to the 16th, but because it's a public hearing, somebody may have come to comment on it. We're not going to have a discussion, but you are allowed to at least state your, make a comment. So if anybody would like to make a comment on this item at this time, it is open to the public.
Now, I have a couple questions about it now. You want just comments or do you want questions?
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll take your questions and then we'll, at the next meeting, we will go ahead and answer that. Would that be okay?
Thank you, that's great.
No, you go ahead and ask questions if you like.
Name is David Blevins, P.O. Box 76, Livingston. I have a couple of concerns about this. First of all, I'll say I'm pro-business, pro Foster Farms. I'd like to see them stay. 3 years doesn't sound like a lot of years for this to happen, and $500,000 is a lot of money. As I understand, there's $200,000 in your account for this type of action. Where's the other $300,000 coming from, is my question.
Okay. And it will be provided, if you wish, if you are here, you'll hear it. If not, we'd be more than happy to send you the answer as well, okay? And any other comments from the public at this time? If not, we'll bring it to the council. We're not going to have a discussion. We are going to pull it. Yeah, I will entertain a motion to continue this item to April 16. Does anybody wish to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion by Councilmember Baptista. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilmember Kang. May I have roll call, please?
Councilmember Baptista? Councilmember Kang?
Yes.
Mayor Samra?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to citizens' comments. This section of the agenda allows a member of the public to address the city council on any item not otherwise on the agenda. Members of the public, when recognized by mayor, should come forward to the lectern and identify themselves. Comments are normally limited to 3 minutes in accordance with the state open meeting laws. No action will be taken by the city council this evening for items which are on the agenda. This evening, the members of the public will be provided opportunity to address the city council as each item is brought up for discussion. Citizens' comments, please. And please state your name and address for the record.
Catherine Shell Rodriguez, P.O. Box 163, Livingston. Okay, first thing, before I make my comment, I'd like everyone to open up their agenda packet to, it's actually on the consent calendar, but I'll go ahead and ask about it now.
Okay.
Okay, if you will open it to, it would be item number 6, the approval of the warrant register. And just take a look at how many pages that warrant register is in your packet today. Only 3. Normally, a warrant register has more pages to it. Now, if you would please go to page 2 in the warrant register and slide your finger, go to the far right column in the check amounts and slide it down till you hit the number of 44,556.66. And then I'm going to use this as an example to make my point. Now, if you'll notice that this check is to the city engineers, and I'm not quibbling over the amount that's being paid to the city engineers, don't get me wrong. But what I am saying is that on previous warrant registers, you could take a look at that number and you could see how much went onto this road project, how much went onto that piece of engineering, how much went to attending meetings. In other words, you could look at the warrant register and you could look at the detail and find out how much is being spent on particular items. And if you had a question about a particular item, you have the information to come up and ask a question about that item. You could also ask a question about a particular item under the attorney's bill. But you can't get that information from the warrant register the way it is presented in this agenda packet because it's missing that detail that has traditionally been in warrant registers for years. And I am just wondering, my questions is what is the reason for doing this format now, and what do we do if we might have a question about wanting to see the detail for particular numbers if it's not here?
Thank you. Mr. Grant?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The current warrant register list is 3 pages. If the list were provided as it was provided in the past, it would be 30 pages. When we multiply that times all the folks that get the packets, we're talking about reams and reams of paper. The packet is available. If anybody has questions, we're more than happy to provide responses to that, but it's a conservation measure. It's my idea. I take full responsibility for it. But we think it's time maybe to try and save a few trees. But we also have the information available if people want it.
Can a expanded version be put online? Like, because I know that it gets exported here to print.
We'll have to work with our new city clerk.
Yeah, to like, like print to say, save to print in a PDF and put that up.
Maybe the paper copies, shorter version, go to the packets, but
Yeah, and then-
online it'll
yeah,
be the electronic.
yeah.
I'm sure we can do that. That shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. I think we got a thumbs up.
We good?
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public? If not, then the citizen comment is now closed. We'll move on to consent agenda. Items on the consent calendar are considered routine and non-controversial and will be enacted by one vote unless a separate action is requested by the city manager or city council member. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the city council or city manager requests that specific item be removed. Item number 4, approve the meeting minutes held on February 19, 2019. Item number 5, approve the meetings held on March 5th, 2019. And number 6, approve the warrant register dated March 27, 2019. Does anybody wish to discuss, or I will entertain a motion?
I just wanted to point out that some of the format is previous council. So when it was printed out this time, previous council names are on it as, I know I read that. So if you want, I think it's in February.
I'm sorry, where are you referring to?
Old council. I think it was just saved, so if we are on. It would be February council. And we have council members McCabe, Aguilar, Sakaitos, Samar, Soria. So again, the format has been saved on this PDF. See what I'm saying?
So would you like to make a motion to accept the corrected version, or you want to see the corrected version first?
No, I mean,
Would you like to make the motion to accept?
you make a motion to accept the minutes as, well, corrected for the council. The consent calendar, sorry, with corrections.
I have a motion by Councilmember Batista. Do I have a second? I will second that. May I have roll call, please?
Roll call, Councilmember Baptista,
Yes.
Councilmember Kane,
Yes.
Mayor Samra.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Item number 7, this is a resolution approving the sale of property located near the southwest corner of Olive Avenue and North Main Street.
That'll be myself. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council. Many of you are probably wondering, oh, didn't we address this one already? We approved to sell the property. Well, the previous firm or group of individuals who decided to purchase the property, they did not meet their obligations. So the realtor who actually put this out in the market for us received interest from another buyer. In this case, because it has to go through this formal process and have council approve, it had to come back through the council. And as a matter of fact, this particular property itself, we're looking at selling this property for $150,000 the last go around. We actually got a better price this time around, so there was $165,000. And actually, one of the property representatives is actually here. He's a local resident. He's representing Castle Assets LLC. His name is Diego Castillo. And so, so basically what we're asking council is to accept this particular offer and move forward with the sale of the property. And I'm sure that he's going to make sure that he follows through with the escrow instructions and everything else that's required. So if you have any questions, please take this time to ask me.
Sorry, this item is open to the public. Does anybody wish to come forward, talk about it? If not, the item is now closed to the public. Council discussion? Does anybody wish to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution approving the sale of property located near the southwest corner of Olive Avenue and North Main Street.
I have a motion by Councilmember Batista. Do I have a second? I will second that motion. May I have roll call, please?
Councilmember Baptista? Yes. Councilmember Kang?
Yes.
Mayor Samra?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Okay, next item, this is a resolution adopting a motion increasing the general fund budget to appropriate $25,000 from the general fund unappropriated fund balance for the fiscal year 2018-2019. Mr. Ramirez?
Yes, once again, Mr. Mayor, this is an item, looks exactly like one that came before you not too long ago. The actual cost, well, I think what I should do at this moment in time is just, because I see some new folks out in the audience, is just kind of talk a little bit about what the receivership is, and I know that our attorney kind of helped explain that the last go round, and then I'll jump in after that.
Absolutely. So with the receivership program, again, as we explained last time, when we had a contract with a firm that does receiverships, it's a court action to actually take control over a property. So for example, if a property's like some of the ones we watched in the slideshow, that there's a owner, let's say, that just is not around, everything's boarded, there's a lot of graffiti, there's a lot of issues on the property, there's a court action that you could actually have the court name a receiver. Basically, it's somebody that now takes control of the property to manage the property in order to bring that property back to a suitable condition, a condition without blight, that looks better for the city. That does take some money, obviously, to get all the attorneys involved, to get the receiver involved, but the whole process is set up so that if that property is sold, most likely properties like that get sold, the city ends up recovering its costs, so it ends up paying for itself. But the idea, the goal is to take properties that are not attended properly, get somebody else assigned to their control, and rehab that property.
Thank you, Mr. Sanchez. So, basically, in this particular case, I'll give you, we have two properties that are really extreme cases. One particular property has, I don't remember the exact number of buckets, but we're talking 20 or 30 buckets that's actually are full of feces. And so these are health and safety issues. We need to go in there. And so we had allocated 25, we had asked council for 25. Well, there's two properties, and the other one's going to take about that amount. So we estimate that for the two properties, it'll probably be about 50. So we're asking council to approve an additional 25, keeping in mind that our goal is to recover that money back. But we do need to address those properties. So unless council has any other questions, we would recommend that you appropriate $25,000 to the for this purpose.
Thank you. This item is open to the public. Does anybody wish to comment? If seeing no one coming forward, this item is now closed to public. Council discussion? If not, I will entertain a motion at this time. Anybody wish to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. Resolution adopting the motion increasing the general fund budget to appropriate $25,000 to the general fund unappropriated fund balance for fiscal year 2018-19.
I have a motion by Councilwoman Batista. Do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Second by Councilmember Kang. May I have roll call, please?
Roll call. Councilmember Baptista?
Yes.
Councilmember Kang?
Yes.
Mayor Samra?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Okay, moving on to item, this is the resolution awarded contract to Guava Engineering Incorporated and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement for on-call engineering services for federally funded transportation projects for the city of Livingston. Mr. Ramirez?
Yes, again, Mr. Mayor and Council, this is not for general engineering services for the city. This is separate and apart. This is for federal highway administration funding through Caltrans that we receive to do transportation projects. This is open to anybody. So anybody can actually apply for this, and we had 4 different firms that actually applied, and they have to go through this extensive, rigorous process of submission and meeting the requirements. So we got 4 different firms that actually submitted. We went through a rating process and so forth, and it was deemed that Guava Engineering was the best firm to meet these obligations, that met all the qualifications. And so we're requesting council to extend or to allow Gouveia Engineering to continue to do our transportation projects, federal transportation projects here in Livingston. You can't do more than 5 years, so for the next 5 years. And once that expires, we have to go through this whole process again, and it could be them again or somebody else. It all depends on what the rating criteria and projects and things of that nature. So if you have any other questions, let me know. One thing that's very important, because these are federal grants and funds, there's all kinds of paperwork and all kinds of rigorous notations that need to be made. So we keep everything on file because we can get it audited at any moment in time. So unless you have any other questions, feel free to ask.
Okay, this item is open to the public. Anybody wish to come forward?
Catherine Shell Rodriguez, P.O. Box 163. Just a question that just kind of popped up in my head. If you can open your agenda packets to that item, it would be after the actual contract agreement, all of those pages, the Exhibit 10-H2 cost proposal. And billing information where it says name, job title, classification.
Yes.
Okay. So just help me out here a little bit. Now, I know, okay, Mario is the principal engineer, okay. Noe is a principal engineer. So Noe is like employed by this firm?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, when Noe works on water type things, does he have his own business separate and apart from this one?
No. Noe Martinez works exclusively for Gouveia Engineering. The person I think you're referring to is probably Alfonso Manrique.
It could be. It
Yeah.
all gets.
Yeah,
they come-
and so Noe is not, of course, not Alfonso. So Noe works specifically for Mario.
Yeah, and the
Okay.
is not on this list, so.
Yeah.
Okay, just.
But good
We have
question.
so many engineers and so many working on so many projects. It kind of gets hard to keep track of who's who and who's doing what.
No, thank you for asking. Those are very good questions. And then, since you brought this up on the cost proposal, once, by the way, I did not participate in the rating of this process. I never do, for a lot of reasons. But one of the reasons why I don't participate is because there's also an opportunity here, once there is a recommendation, that we can look at negotiating, okay? So the actual cost proposal, this is a revised version of what was submitted as part of this process, and the fee was actually 15%, and so I was able to twist Mario's two arms and lower it down to 13%. So thank you for bringing that up.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else from the public? If not, this item is now closed to public. Council, discussion? No discussion? Mr. Ramirez, if you can answer.
Yes.
You said all bidders were interviewed or sat in front of a
Yes,
committee?
that is correct.
Was that a committee of the city or mixed, or who was the committee?
The committee was actually made up of public works staff and building staff, and they're the ones who rated it and submitted the paperwork, and they have to go through this really rigorous review process, and they have to meet all the different specifications, and because this is so rigorous and important, we actually keep everything, all of the documents, everything, because there could be questions, there could be audits and so forth. And so based on their recommendation that was then recommended to me, then I, at that point, because we're allowed to negotiate fee, I negotiated from 15 down to 13. And that's why I'm bringing the recommendation to council.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ramirez. Any further discussion, council? If not, I'll entertain a motion at this time.
I'll make a motion resolution awarding the contract to Geneva Engineering Incorporated and authorizing the city manager to execute the agreement for on-call engineering services for federally funded transportation projects for the city of Livingston.
I have a motion by Councilmember Batista. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a second by Councilmember Kane. May I have roll call, please?
Roll call. Councilmember Baptista?
Yes.
Councilmember King?
Yes.
Mayor Samra?
Yes,
Motion approved.
thank you. Council, no, we have one more item. Never mind. This is a discussion, Gallo 9 lot subdivision, Mr. Ramirez.
Yes. I just wanted to, again, this is just a discussion item. We're not asking for any action this evening, but more than anything, just to provide information to the public. As you know, it was some time ago that we worked really closely with Gallo to approve their 9-lot subdivision. We actually, there was a letter of conditions, and we negotiated a lot of different things. Everything was moving smoothly. However, Mr. Gallo approached me, Peter Gallo approached me, and because he ran up into he had a few little hiccups on the project. And so he's asking for the city to come in and be a little bit more, provide him with some flexibility. And the flexibility stems on, there's about 7 items that we came up with that we can help him with. One is the actual contractor that he used to finance all of the improvements. And his line of business and having access to a lot of capital, there's some issues there. There's a little bit of some difficulty. So he's not looking at moving away from the responsibilities that were set forth. But by the way, these are all responsibilities that are very standard, and our engineering and the staff put together the list. Out of the 7 items which we'll bring forward to the Planning Commission, actually one of the 7, because the other 6 items that we're proposing are deferrals. And so so those don't need to come through council because they're not going to be waived or anything of that nature. But what we are going to do is we're going to work with Mr. Gallo. We would like to see projects developed out there. And we're going to look at, we're going to try to work with them give him a little more flexibility. Again, he's not looking at not doing that, those improvements. However, there's one item on there, which is the construction of a CMU wall around the project, and you can see portion of it now because the TA is there. However, in revisiting that item and talking to staff and looking at our future annexations and the growth of our commercial segment, it is our, we believe that the CMU wall is not warranted anymore at this time, because if we extend our commercial property further north, and you basically have, it's kind of like having that CMU wall around Rancho San Miguel. You know, it wouldn't be open completely. So again, we want our planning commissioners to take up this item. So that item has to go back to the planning commission and then ultimately back to the council for final approval. And so, again, we decided to work with our long-term partner to see how we might be able to help push this project along. He does have some interest from the county in building the building out there. He had some interest from some other vendors. And again, the other items are not being foregone. They're just, we're going to look at trying to work with them a little closer on giving them a little bit more flexibility to get that project off the ground. So that's basically, in a nutshell, what you'll see coming before you in the very near future. But if you have any questions or comments, please, I'm open to address them.
Council, any comment? Okay, thank you, Mr. Ramirez. Any further business, council? If not, we are in adjournment.